All right. Well, my name is Dr. Kort. I am a chiropractic physician. I'm a board eligible neurologist. I've been involved in medicine since 1984 when I worked on a paramedic unit for a decade. And in 1987, back up, I've had the amazing opportunity to live a very full and exciting life. And I just actually co-published a book with Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza and Patrick Porter, about 20 other authors. My first attempt at writing a book, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. And in that chapter that I wrote, I talk about my experiences. It's called From Trike to Bike Without Training Wheels, which is basically a synopsis of how many times I've hit the ground. And one of my favorite things is, if you've hit the ground, how many times did you get up? You get up all of them. That's really important in today's world because things are very different than they were about 6 to 8 weeks ago. And we have to keep getting up. So I've had many life-changing experiences. I've been paralyzed twice, which is pretty exciting. I was paralyzed in 1984 from the chest down and told, "You're never going to walk again." And this was when I was 18 years old. And my mom said, "Dr. Russ, God has a special plan for you." And I always held that in my heart, because 8 days later, I walked out of the hospital, and 8 months later, I was recovered. And then I went on to ride a bicycle 6,500 miles around Australia and New Zealand. This is important because I had the opportunity there to bring cell phones into Australia. And so I brought cell phones into Australia. I worked when I wasn't riding my bicycle, with some mates on cordless telephones. And we did things that weren't exactly probably the best for 20-year-olds to do. Like, we quadrupled the power coming out of the cordless telephones. And in doing that and being exposed to those kinds of electromagnetic fields, it actually set me up to become electromagnetic hypersensitive. And some people may know that or have heard of EHS or EMF. There's certainly a lot of talk about 3G, 4G, now 5G, and how it affects the body. So about 3 or 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to read a book that I'll tell you how you can get, called Radiation Nation. And I read the manuscript before it came out. Jet and I did. And in the pages of that book, I realized I had been suffering from these symptoms for 20 years. And, symptoms of headaches, my phone bothers me when I hold it near my head, irritability, just irritability, brain fog, anxiety, all these different symptoms that many of the doctors in our world prescribe medications for, but they're not looking at the root causes. So that's a little bit about what happened. And then after I read the manuscript, I decided that I was going to dedicate my life to this. I mean, maniacal focus on dedicating my life to EMF, understanding what it is and how I can mitigate the symptoms in those who come to see me. I am the tip of the spear, and it is a very interesting place to be, like on the front of a train. So that is a little bit about me. And as I said, I was paralyzed twice. I was paralyzed the second time by a doctor who actually injected my spine with a chemical that paralyzed my left side from my hip to my foot. Hence X39. And my sponsor, I hadn't seen her in 10 years or 12 years. And she stopped by and she said, "Hey, I have this really cool thing I want to show you. It helps your body to turn on its own stem cells. And I don't know much about it, but you know the routine." And I said, "Oh, that'd be great." Because I'm not really a big fan of injecting stem cells, especially now with COVID. I don't really want to poke the skin in any way. I want something that's safe. And she said, "Yeah, I've got this patch, and it actually has your body will turn on its own stem cells." And I go, "Bring it on." So 2 years ago, it sounds like just the life of getting up. 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to ski a mountain for Christmas. I was with my children. As we were coming up to the top, towards the last lift before the top of the mountain, they opened the top lift. First time of the season, waist deep snow. I was in seventh heaven. So we did a quick recording. We got to the top of the mountain. We were probably the 30th people up there. We're skiing down, snow above my waist. As I'm skiing up to my son screaming, I'm so excited. I hit a rock as I'm coming over my skis, and my ski releases, my leg breaks in 7 places. And what a great day, right? It was my knee, and my knee fractured in 7 places. But I'm at the top of the mountain, and I'm also a doctor, so I don't take my own advice. I put my ski on. I thought, painful, but not so painful that I don't think I can ski down. So I skied off the mountain directly to my truck. I carry a laser with me everywhere I go, a cold laser. I had plenty of ice with snow and everything. I sent my kids back up to ski for a few more runs, and I started treating myself. Long story short on this, I broke my leg in 7 places on Christmas Day. And by New Year's Day, I was walking on this leg without crutches and no pain. And so when my sponsor came to me, she told me about this, and I'm like, I think I'm going to put one of those stem cells on where I broke my leg. And so I put it on there, and then I forgot to take it off. And I spent the night with it on my leg. And the next morning I woke up, and my other leg, my paralyzed foot, was massive. I had this infection that started in my ankle, started to spread through my foot. That was a Tuesday morning. By Thursday morning, actually, I think by Wednesday, I was at the doctor's office, and they were like, "Hey, we're going to put you in the hospital. You got this massive infection going on in your leg. They were going to put you on multiple antibiotics." And I said, "I'm supposed to go and lecture and help at a brain camp in Florida with dolphins. I'm like flying to Florida, whether I'm on crutches or not." And they're like, "You don't seem to understand. If you fly to Florida, you may lose this leg." Well, that's an eye opener. So I decided that I would just spend the rest of the next 2 weeks in bed, because even a sheet on my leg was unbelievably painful. So some of your listeners may be thinking, do I really want to put this on my leg? And that's what I thought when I first did this. I'm like, man, this doesn't work. This is terrible. But again, like how many times you fall down and how many times you get up, that's what's important, right? So I started thinking about this, and I realized this is my theory, is that I actually, because my left foot was paralyzed, partially paralyzed. I could walk, I could ski, I can't run or walk on my tiptoes and stuff, and I only have one toe that works. So I think what happened was that I had an infection there that was dormant, that was like a strep infection that was dormant. And because there's not good circulation in that foot, it just was laying there, waiting for an opportune time. By putting X39 on my other leg, knowing that it goes to the area of most need, it lit up this infection so that my body could fight it. What a gift. Amazing. So once I got through being out of work for a couple of weeks, this getting out of work thing is killing me. Once I got out of work for a couple of weeks and was able to, I was on crutches for a couple of weeks because I couldn't walk. The leg calmed down, and then I started noticing some pretty amazing things. Like now, all of my toes move just a little bit, and I have some more flexion in my toes that I didn't have. And the bottom of my foot is feeling for the first time in 12 years. And, there's other things that may make you laugh. Like the other day, I was kind of doing like my dog does and looking around at my backside, because all of a sudden I could start to feel the seam on my shorts. And I thought, that's strange. I haven't been able to feel my butt in 12 years. I've been half-assed. Now I may be a full ass. I don't know. But it's It's kind of that, I'm starting to get feeling in my leg. I'm starting to get feeling in my butt. I have feeling in my foot, and I'm able to walk. So I have a blue healer, which if anybody knows anything about a healer, man, you got to walk them a lot. So 5 miles every morning, and I'm able to walk, and I don't even have to think about where my foot's going. It's coming back. Now, does that happen for everybody? No. Is this a miracle cure? No. Is it really important for us to be maniacally focused and tell our own story? Yes. Do we embellish? No. We've been in these companies, many of us have been in these companies before, and it's just pivotal that we tell the truth, we tell our own story, we don't embellish, and we don't tell other people's stories. So that's my story. I'm sticking to. Let's take this a little deeper, and can I unpack the box a little bit more, Onyx?
Yes, please.
Is this good so far?
Fabulous. Are you kidding?
Okay, good. So let's unpack the box just a little bit further. As I said, I have issues with EMF, and I have for 20 years. And that's why we have Dr. EMF. And what we do is figure out ways to mitigate the symptoms in our patients so that they can live life. And this is super important because life is changing pretty quickly. So being that I'm a tactile learner, like breaking your leg in 7 places and hitting the ground a bunch of times. I was also an extreme skier. I set a couple speed records, craziness like that. I have to feel it, I guess. God says, hey, Russ, you're going to be a tactile learner because you can't read it and you can't listen to people. You're going to have to feel it. So that's how I learn. I got to feel what's cooking. And in the world of EMF, I'm cooking. My noggin's cooking, my chest is cooking, my body's cooking. So what I've done, one of the symptoms that I have when I'm exposed to EMF, and we're all exposed to it. Let's face it, I'm talking on a cell phone right now. I've got my special ear cords, which has an air tube and a microphone. I'm plugged in so that I'm minimizing the amount. If I talk on speakerphone, it makes me feel really poorly. One of the places I feel poorly is right here in my chest. And so I put a patch right here. It's just to the side of my heart, right by my sternum. And symptoms almost non-existent. And so I actually, some people, I know that David says 1 patch is good. Again, I like to push it to the edge. So maybe 1 patch is good. Maybe 2 patches is better. I don't know. But for me, especially when I'm exposed to a lot of electronics, if I'm working in my clinic's all hardwired, and I really have to minimize the EMF in my office because I have patients that literally a cell phone can make them pass out and have a seizure. If I'm exposed to too much EMF, it does really not such great things to me. And mine has really savior for me. It's been an amazing shield in my arsenal. Okay, Defender Shield is another one, and I just name dropped. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can do that, Onyx, but I believe in Spartan warriors, and I believe we need shields. I believe that we have to fight, and so my Spartan shield is the X39. For me, I have one on my C7T1. I have one over my. It's not over my heart. It's actually over what's called my sympathetic chain ganglia, or by my thymus. And this allows me to talk to you on my phone. My computer's not on because that would be a lot for me to have computer and phone both coming at me. I wear special glasses so that, I can protect my eyes as well. These are kind of cool. But that's my story regarding X39. Do you want to hear one more caveat? I'm doing pretty good on time. Okay, so let's go back to the foot, because the foot is one of those things, when you have a foot and you limp and you've been limping for 12 years, it's one of those things that drives you a little batty, and it makes you feel not, for me, made me feel not complete. I was always a pretty high-end athlete, and to have that injury was a big deal. Um, but you just keep getting up. How many times? Every time. So one of the things that as nerves regenerate, you sometimes have what is, it feels like a burning in your foot. Sometimes we can call this restless leg. And I know that we have viewers on here that are going, oh my gosh, restless leg. How many people do I know with restless legs? Well, me. So this restless leg thing is really horrific to people. And my case, and I can't speak for anyone else, but in my case, it feels on the top of my foot, right about there. And I know hand, foot, just go with me. On the top of my foot, right here, feels like somebody's putting a cigarette out on it during the night, every 8 seconds. That sucks. Okay, so it's like, and then it's 1 1000, 2 7 1000, 8 1000. You cannot sleep when somebody's putting a cigarette out on your foot every 8 seconds. And if you can't sleep, you can't repair your brain. If you can't repair your brain, you are going down the sickness highway. So what I did was I put a patch over my scar. I have had the opportunity to break a lot of bones with landing on the ground. My back in 4 places, my neck and my pelvis twice. And I've had 3 back surgeries. So I have a scar on my back. So I put one X39 on my back on the scar, and I put another X39 right where that cigarette burn is. And slept like a baby. Oh my gosh, fantastic. So whenever I start to feel that restless leg thing going on, that's what I do is I double patch and I sleep through the night, because then my brain can recover and I can do the really important work that I'm supposed to do here on the planet, my life's work, which is to help people with EMF.
That is so awesome. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the story. Is there anything else that you feel you'd like to share, or should I open it up and let people ask any questions?
Well, I know that, yeah, thank you for that opportunity. I'm not going to get on the religious bandwagon here. We are all exposed to EMF, and as I tell people, my patients, or if I'm on the street and I talk to somebody, they see me with my dog Kaizen, and I tell them that he actually helps me because he picks up EMF, and they go, "Really? We're all exposed, okay?" There's no one on this planet that's not exposed to EMF, and our children are exposed since birth. And in this time that we've experienced in the last 6 weeks, I'm seeing new towers and stuff going up, and I don't play in that realm. I just observe and I go, got to figure out how we're going to deal with this. So there's hope. That's important to know. There's strategies. That's important to know. There's X39. That's important to know. And these are all things that we have to do, because we're all in the soup together. It's like we're all in the hot tub, and some of us notice that it's really hot, but we can't get out. So we have to come up with ways to mitigate and be able to live within the soup we're in, right? Within the hot tub. So I'm going to give a number, because I know that people are going to be like, how do I get a hold of this guy? If nothing else, they want to hear my jokes. So I'm going to give you the number to get a hold of me. Okay, so the best way to get a hold of me, it's hard to get a hold of me, but I have a team of people that will answer questions, and then you'll get a hold of me. So our phone number is 1-800-261-9267. Again, that's 800-261-9267, Dr. EMF. That's the best way to get a hold of me, and you'll be funneled into me. Secondly, it is time, distance, and shielding. We have to try and minimize our time. So as network marketers, and we love network marketing, we have to make sure that we don't stick our phone up against our brain. That seems easy. I don't think the little ear tubes, little ones that are the wireless ones. Just the other day, I had one of those aha moments. And I realized this one communicates with this one so that you have stereo sound through that. Not so cool. So we don't want to do that anymore. So those are some of the things that I wanted to share.
Just to be clear, everyone, what Dr. Kort is talking about is those wireless headsets that I have finally gotten my children to reluctantly give up. Those wireless ones are talking through your middle brain. And so you want to throw them away. They're not good for you at any level.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even really want to give those to your like enemies and stuff, because somewhere in your heart, you're like, that just ain't cool, not cool. So I think that's it for me.
Would you talk a little bit about the X39 and the nervous system? Because you've said some beautiful things about that as well, and how people can utilize the X39, because I think a lot of us are, our nerves have been shot over the years and PTSD and blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure you can shed some light for everybody.
Well, I'm pretty new in the company and I'm still learning about the X39. What I can tell you from my own case, right? That's, like I said, we don't embellish. We don't tell other people's stories. And I'm learning about X39. I didn't know that it was even available just, a couple of months ago. And so I'm still learning how this thing works. And I never stopped learning. Jet, as you mentioned, my life partner, who was my chemistry tutor 30 years ago, July. 30 years ago, she was my chemistry tutor and taught me how to learn. There's books like this. This one's so used that the cover's off of it, the high yield neuroanatomy. We have books everywhere and we're constantly reading, constantly researching. Regarding the nervous system, we all have one. I think that the X39, and I've looked at the literature and it said, put it on C7T1. It's a great spot. From what I understand, I'm not an acupuncturist, but from what I understand, that's kind of a beltway or like a roundabout to the rest of the nervous system. It's a great spot to put it. For myself, when I looked at my back and my foot, even though my foot was really bothering me with the restless leg, I put it on the scar. And scars are super important because scars interrupt nerve flow. Okay. And in my clinic, we work on scars. Before we work on anything else, we actually go through scars. We go through scars and tattoos, because tattoos are scars too, and they have emotion to them. And anytime you have a scar, you have an emotional component attached to it, because it probably hurt to have that. So I think the X39 on a scar is not a bad idea, just from what I've done.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into too many things that are not really in my wheelhouse until I understand more about what X39 is doing.
Absolutely. How long does
I've had the opportunity. Go ahead.
How long does it take for the nervous system to regrow?
Oh, now that I do know, and thank you for leading me. You're just awesome. So, 9 months. And so what we're doing here in the clinic, we have different programs in the clinic, but I'm not your typical chiropractor. So when patients come to me, they're really sick, and it's not just an adjustment. We do what's called an intensive, and our intensives, patients are with me from 8 a.m. until 5 o'clock at night, 5 days in a row. And they'd only stop for lunch. That's it. And when they get too tired to function and they're like, they get to sleep and rest, but they're with me intensely. And so the first thing that we do is we start patching them. You know, we start patching these people right out of the chutes, or we actually send patches to them before they come to me, so that we have a week or so where they're going, wow, this is kind of cool. We send a little packet of 7 patches to them. So maybe because they're like, hey, I'm out of patches, I need to get some more. But that way we know they're coming our way, right? And then we make sure that they get a sleeve when they, hang on just a second. I'm sorry. I got somebody calling me about patches, and another doctor's like, dude, I need these patches. Why aren't you answering the phone? So let me get back to that. So we start them on the sleeve of patches for the week that they're with us, and we may use them all in the week. I mean, depending on what's going on with them, where I feel like we need to be doing patches, I may multi-patch them. Everybody's different, so I can't really go into specifics on that. And then we put them on a 9-month program. And what I really like about the program is that if they do the the big one where it's 1,600, 1,599.95, 19 sleeves, then we actually can split it up between husband and wife. Because guess what? If someone comes to me and they're spending a week with me, they're spending money to be seen by me exclusively, and they have a caregiver that is about ready to wring their neck. So the caregiver needs help too. So by doing the diamond pack, then patient gets the treatment, spouse, caregiver gets the treatment, and now you've done a twofer. And that's important because, in the work that I do, nobody's really understanding what's going on. They're just seeing their loved one just cratering. And I'll tell you a quick story. We're still doing good on time. Do you want to hear another story?
Yes. So before we go to the story, so to be clear, everyone, what Dr. Kort is saying is that, what I hear is that every cell in the nervous system will regrow in that 9-month period. And that's why he's putting his patients on 9 months of X39. So Kathy and I have been here for a little over 8 months. We haven't even reached the 9-month mark yet. So there's nobody in this team yet that has reached that mark, but I wanted you all to hear that. So go ahead with your story. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Thank you for reiterating that, because sometimes you got to keep me on course. I tend to wobble around a little bit. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, and we see such dramatic changes in that first week. And literally we see tremendous changes in that first week. I'm going to tell you a story of a young girl that I met at a conference not too long ago. She had had 8 concussions in her lifetime. And we have to look at, as a physician, I look at everything from birth to where we're at today. And this girl, she's 23 years old. And I went and talked, her mom asked me to go and talk to her. And I went and sat down and talked to her. I said, look, I know what's going on with you. I mean, I'm pretty laser focused when I figure out if you're a good fit for me to take care of you, or if you need to see a different kind of chiropractor, a different kind of doctor. So we talked to her mom, and her mom decided, I'm going to send her out to you for a week. So we made all the arrangements, and she came out, and we do a lot of testing in my clinic, a lot. And one of the tests that we did on her was what's called an EEG, which measures your brain waves. It all starts in the brain, folks. If you think there's anything more important than the brain, you're wrong. Heart doesn't function without the brain. Mouth doesn't function. Nothing functions without the brain. So if your brain's not at optimum, you're in trouble. That's why the X39 on the back of the neck is so important. Short trip up to the brain, longer trip to the rest of the body. Super, super important. That's a great spot for one. So this girl came in, and when we did her EEG, 23 years old, she had the brain of a 60-year-old woman at 23. And first thing we did was patch her. I had another guy that was there at the conference too, and he came as well. And he was a 40-year-old guy with very similar symptoms, and his brain was actually 90 years old. amazing, amazing situation. So the girl, in 1 week, in 5 days, we were able to change her from a 60-year-old brain to a 25-year-old brain in 5 days. And we measured that with a 19-lead EEG gold standard. And I think that the patch, big part of what I do, I stack strategies. So that's my story. And
So
there's no embellishment, and you don't tell my story, you tell your own stories.
agreed. So we have a beautiful healer on the phone that I actually know very well. I took my children to her when they were young, and she's asking about dorsal vagal dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
Can you make any comments about that?
Yeah, it's such a, I mean, it's a huge can of worms, and probably not the can that we want to open right now.
Okay.
But what I would say is that the thing that I found to be extremely helpful is putting the X39 right. So I'm wearing right here, right now, on my chest. I got a shirt on underneath it, but that's where I put one patch, and I put another patch on the back of my neck. Depends how my day's going, you know. If I'm really feeling pretty busted up, but I don't think I've put more than 2 patches on it. But I mean, I'm not afraid to do that now that I've gotten through my foot. So as far as the vagus nerve, it's part of the cranial nerves. Let's go back to this. When you put a cell phone against your head, it goes over all the cranial nerve, right? All 12 of them. So we want to try and distance ourselves from putting things that have electricity against our brain. I don't think they ever had a failure of the electric pair.
I have a quick question for him. A couple of us got on the call a little bit early, and we were just conversing. We have 3 of us on the call that are very active reps, and I'm pretty sure we're all using wireless headsets. So there's 3 of us at least that have acute ear infections right now. Is there a reason? Could that be that?
Success leaves clues.
Yeah. So I'm actually on your website right now, and so I'm looking at those. So if I buy those, even though they're corded, people can hear me.
I will get you a link.
Okay.
And so that you can get these. This is from Defender Shield. I will get you a link. I'll send it to Onyx, and she can get you a link.
So I have the link. I have the link, everyone. And at the end, when Kathy puts it up on our team Facebook page, I'll put Dr. Kort's Defender Shield link up there so that you can get those earbuds. And the other thing that you can get there that Dr. Kort mentioned is the book, the Radiation Nation. That will also come from Defender Shield. And I will tell everyone that today I had ordered, it's like a little fanny pack, I guess, because I've been walking 6 miles a day now that we're in this global reset. It's been beautiful, but I do not like holding that cell phone while I'm walking. So my little fanny pack arrived today, and I got to walk 6 miles today with the little fanny pack, and I felt so much better that I wasn't electrocuting myself anymore. So thank you for that. So we'll put that up for everybody to be able to access.
And you know, here's the deal with Defender Shield. I'm just going to lay it out here because, you know, people, I'm so careful about this stuff because everybody's a critic, and they all have, you know, in this day and age where we're constantly putting up electricity in our phones and stuff to our heads, I think that it's really changing the fabric of our society. You know, I think that people are much more short-tempered and quick to anger. I know that was one of the symptoms that I had, and I've seen that with the X39. I'm a much sweeter person when I have my patches on, and because when I'm exposed, when I become functionally impaired from my environment, I go into fight or flight. I go into cranky, mean, you know, and I found that the X39 really helps to make me a lot more docile and help me to deal with my environment. But the Kort, is it clear? I mean, can everybody hear me clearly?
Oh yeah.
Because it's like you're in my head. I mean, it's stereo. The air tubes are amazing. But here's the thing that you need to know about Defender Shield, the company Defender Shield. Dan DeBon, the owner, he's a friend of mine, and he worked for Bell Laboratories for 40 years, and he is in this to help humanity. He's an amazing man, and every product that he has is third-party tested. He doesn't test it. And I got to show you the coolest thing that I've got, and I know you're all going to want one, and they're coming. But let me see here. Oh, here we go. I wanted to wear my purple shirt, but this is the Defender hoodie. And Dan listens to what I ask him, and I said, dude, I need a hoodie. I need something I can put over my head to protect my head from EMF. And 2 prototypes made, and I gave one to one of my patients who came to me in a wheelchair from EMF. He worked at a corporation, and I can give you that video on it. So I'm going to send you this video, and so we don't take up more time, but I have a video on this guy named Ryan, and I'm going to send you Ryan's video, and you're welcome to post it out to your team. But Ryan is very special to me, and Ryan is now like my brother, because when I first went down to help Ryan, he worked as an electrician in a large computer corporation where they never turned off the electricity. And when I went down to him, he just looked at me and he was like, he goes, he couldn't get out of the car. It took him 2.5 hours to get to me from 8 miles away. And he couldn't get out of the car. And he looked at me, and I get really choked up about this because it was really hard. And he said, can you carry me? And I'm like, no, dude, I can't carry you. Are you kidding me? And he's like, well, do you have a wheelchair? And I'm like, no. And so I ran up and I got my office chair, and I put him in my office chair, and I dragged him to my clinic, and we tested his brain. And his brain, he is 40 years old. His brain was 90. And what I can tell you about him, and you'll be really touched by the video, is that Ryan has a 23-year-old brain now. And
Yay!
he has had a 23-year-old brain for 9 months.
Yay!
And he is on the X39 patch, and he has the other prototype. There's only 2 in the world right now, but we're working on it. We had to make some changes to the prototype so that it was perfect for everybody. But that's what Defender Shield is that they're a company that listens to me, because I'm the one who's the frog that's going, hey man, this water is really hot. And so we are a team. I have a team of people with Dr. EMF that we are all in this together, and we are all fighting as hard and fast as we can to protect the rest of humanity, because we are all in this hot tub together. Okay?
Correct.
So,
and I think so much of this team aligns with that, Dr. Kort. I think that this.
I'm so happy to be a part of this team. I got to tell you, I've been a part of other companies, and I'm nobody. I'm just another dude that is, has an education where I'm learning on how to work on this stuff. But and I'm open to people who are a lot smarter than I am. We put together a team of brilliant people. If you go to the Defender Shield website, you can actually look at their blog, and I review all the blogs. Jet and I review all the blogs that are posted on there. And then I'm the chairman of the Scientific Advisory Board, and she's the chief science officer of the Scientific Advisory Board. And so we are in this to save humanity, to do whatever we can for humanity. And I think that this patch, big part.
Agreed. So I'm going to ask one more question, which is a general question, because I'm sure there's many people on this team that could use your answer. How do you feel about those Fitbits or those watches that you leave on all day long that are electrifying yourself all day?
Well, it's all the bees in the room, Onyx. Okay. It's all the bees in the room. And, you know, some of us can deal with a lot of bees. I've wanted to go and do a lecture and take like a big giant jar of bees and just say, hey, I got this idea, okay? And I've got all these bees. Most of them are honeybees, but I have 6 killer bees in here. And I just want to see what you guys think if I like undo the lid and let the bees out. It's all the bees in the room. But, you know, and we all have different sensitivities to this. I don't wear a Fitbit. In fact, I do a lot of testing because, you know, I'm the canary in the coal mine. Oh, that's a pigeon. Sorry. And so I do a lot of testing on this kind of stuff. And I haven't really come up with any of these wrist things that I can put on me that don't make my arm burn. And that's not so cool. I mean, if you're feeling the device on you, then take it off, right? This is a device. I have nothing to do with this company except for they want to know how we can do more important things. And so actually I do have something to do with them. We're going to, yes, Apple Watches are also, they put out a lot of energy. If it makes you not feel good, please take it off. If you can put it on airplane mode, do that. The reason it's hard to get a hold of me is because I don't carry my phone on me. It's not on me, it's on airplane mode. I check it a couple of times a day, but you know, if I'm going to help humanity, I can't be on the thing that's making me sick, because honestly, here's how this stuff reacts to me. It's kryptonite for me. Okay. And what I am seeing is that it's kryptonite for a lot of other people. I'm going to get back to your question. If you've been on an airplane, that's one of the areas that I have a lot of problems is airplanes and sometimes cars. We're seeing a lot of problems in Utah, man, a lot of big car wrecks in Utah because they got a whole bunch of kids in the van with phones, right? So you could have a van with 8 kids in it and 2 adults and they're all on Wi-Fi. That's a lot of killer bees in the room. This is a product that I'm using right now. It's called Circle, and I just got it. It's a ring, and it actually measures your PO2 and it measures sleep. And I'm actually getting a fellowship right now as a chiropractic sleep specialist because we need to be able to monitor sleep. We need to make sure that people's sleep is really great. And so I've been vetting this ring, and it's cool because there's 2 sizes, large and small. What's cool about this is that it has a little slide. I don't know if you can see that. There you go.
Yes, then. Yep.
So what's really cool is that I can wear this ring, and I don't wear it all the time. Right now it's off. But when I go for a walk, I turn it on to see where my data is on my walk. When I go to sleep at night, I turn it on, but I put my phone on airplane mode and it measures my sleep. And so the data is amazing out of this ring. And what's really cool about this ring is that you can then send me your data. So I can see your data and then I can make changes to help you with your sleep. And we have a lot of really cool strategies, as you know, to help with sleep. And so as we can recover sleep and we can have amazing night sleeps, it tells me even your light sleep, how many hours you had in light sleep and where during the night you had that light sleep. It tells me your REM sleep, tells me your deep sleep, tells me how long it was before you fell asleep. It's really, really cool. And now we're working on with the manufacturer to come up with a way to measure HRV, your heart rate variability, which will give me more diagnostics. And so I'm working with other doctors on this so that we can actually broaden that spectrum of how we help people, because it's about humanity. I mean, this is really not about, hey, I'm an individual. It takes a team, just like in X39, just like with this company, LifeWave, it takes a team to get out there to make a difference in humanity. And we need to do that. After what we've seen in the last 6 weeks, this selfishness that everybody has, it is gone for this cat. It is about humanism and what it's going to take. So in Oregon, when you come to us, and we are, as you know, Onyx, I can't go into all the details on that, but we're going to have a special place. that is safe. And that is something that I've spent a lot of time working on, to create a safe place where people can come and reboot their brain, so that we can get them, so they can come out and fight and live in their environment that they're in.
So I want to thank you. This has been
wrist
such.
stuff.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yep.
Wrist stuff. I wear a watch, but it's not an electric watch. It's a regular timepiece watch. I don't put the Apple watches. Some of the Apple phones are, just check it out. There's some class action suits going on in California. You gotta understand, we don't have control over the devices that we use and how much energy they put out into our body, into our brains. Not my space. I won't go there. I won't talk about 5G and all the other stuff. I won't go into the political arena, because that will inhibit me and my ability to make a difference on humanism. My job, help you, help everybody else to be able to live in their environment, to be able to reboot their brains when they go to sleep, to give them the most cutting edge ability for us to live the healthiest, happiest, mindful lives that they can. And that includes even your stinking thinking.